Now, another big story today was the Indian markets, and both Sensex and Nifty, the nose dived since morning. Sensex was down by more than 1,200 points in the morning trade, and it ended with losses, heavy losses of close to 890 points. Nifty was also below 11,000 mark. Both markets, they were clearly trading in red for the larger part of the day. Yes Bank is something that pulled down the whole stock markets in India. Sensex Nifty ended in red. And we have with us our market analyst for this evening. But let's take a look at Asian markets. SEC index 1.29% down, Hang Seng down by 2.32%. ASX of Australia down 2.8% and DAC 3.5% down. So we have with us today our market expert Sandeep Jain, and he is going to talk to us regarding what can be the overall outlook for the markets going forward. Good evening to you, Mr. Jain. First of all, today's rout was clearly attributed to fall in Yes Bank stock and overall Bank Nifty that came down. What about the way forward?
Yeah, certainly it was Yes Bank. Already we were reeling under the pressure of coronavirus, and then the global cues were not positive, has been very, very negative since last few days and few sessions. And I think now this Yes Bank debacle is a big issue with the industry as a whole. And in fact, lots of the other private sector banks are also being affected, like the likes of, these RBI Bank or Bandhan Bank, all were actually getting a beating because of this particular news. So somehow, even SBI, it is not a great news for the SBI also, and somehow that also has corrected. And the whole Bank Nifty is actually correcting, and in fact, Bank Nifty underperformed the broader indices. So I think, one has to be very, very cautious, and still, in fact, I was listening to the FM also, but things are not all that easy. Somehow the markets will look at the broader picture overall for the NBFCs and the banks and the private sector banks, and even the, PSU banks are also not doing all that great. So somehow, even the PSU banks merger was also being announced, and that news actually got subsided because of the bigger news of Yes Bank. So I feel next week will be an extremely volatile week, because it's a truncated week also, the Holy Week in fact, and then Monday is the trading session, then Tuesday is a holiday, and again Wednesday, and then we have NSE, in fact, the Yes Bank FDs which were being pledged for the trading, in fact for the options and futures trading, in fact those will also be removed from the margin and FNO exposure. So I think there will be some panic in the market again, though the panic has already been discounted, and already we have seen a big panic. So I think 10,850 is a good support, and the upper side cannot be more than I think 11,300, 400.
And also overall the indices are at 6-month low. Sensex has tanked today as well. For the most part of the last week, markets were down. Is it a good time to buy any stocks, and if yes, what sectors should investors be looking at?
I think one should still wait and watch for some time, because after the Yes Bank we have the coronavirus also, and if we see lots of these public places, in fact people are not visiting, then the travel is also being affected, hotel industry is affected, then lots of events have been cancelled, the marriage industry is being affected, so consumption will be at its lowest ebb, I think. And then only the FMCGs or IT or pharma can do well. These diagnostic stocks can do well. Dr. Lal Pathalev, I've been recommending this to our clients, and on the media also, in fact on Z Business also we have recommended this. Then Apollo Hospital, some of these few stocks, or say Polymedicure, these are some stories which we can look at, but otherwise we have to be very, very stock specific, and we cannot be that aggressive in buying, even though the stocks have corrected and even though the markets have corrected heavily. So we will wait and watch for some time, and then we will be more safer and more comfortable buying stocks at even higher levels when things will get subsided.
And what about your estimate on the Wall Street and other global markets, including China and Europe?
See, somehow, even those markets are also correcting. Even if we see Dow Jones, that is also under pressure. And somehow Dow Jones corrected to 24,000 levels, then again bounce back. So let's see what happens. In fact, nowadays what we are seeing is, the markets have got decoupled with the global cues now, because India has its own issues of, the slower GDP, then particularly the Yes Bank saga, and then the overall bank Nifty is actually underperforming, and then the fourth part is the coronavirus spread. So let's see how it happens, but then I'm not very keen on recommending buying stocks at even these levels and do some bottom fishing.
Well, thank you, Mr. Jain, for talking to us and getting us all these details this evening. Today is a day when, well, clearly FMC Theraman, she addressed the queries on Yes Bank, and also markets have tanked today. So next week is a time when all things will be clearer going forward.